Did you hear that? Somebody on?
No.
Okay, I heard a ding dong.
I didn't.
And it's not me. Okay, it looks like we are live, even though I do not see it here. It says that we are. So I am going to trust the process and ask all of you to do me a favor, and invite all your friends. It's time to grow this classroom. It's time to take ownership and responsibility for our life. So today we are going to talk about, let me start my, I guess I'll start my record before I hit. So today we're going to be talking about what we see in others is who we are. We're going to talk about what we see in others is who we are. It's kind of hard to kind of embrace our thoughts, but I want you to weigh in. If you have any questions or any if you have any questions, put a Q in front of the question and make sure that your voice is heard. I want to hear from you. This is an interactive. You have me because the guest that we had planned had a family emergency. So with that in mind, fasten your seatbelts because we're going to dig with our soul shovels and then only find truth. So here we go. I'm going to hit the record button. There we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn. We make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends on Facebook, at Lillian's Radio Show, and YouTube, at the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. As I said earlier, this is a conversation, not a monologue. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And I specifically want to understand, I want us to nail this, that what we see in others is who we are. Now, Carl Jung said it the best. And when I heard this quote, it was life-changing for me. I no longer heard things the same way I heard them. And when I said them, I no longer said them, well, for the most part, I'm not perfect. I have flaws. Oh, can you believe that? I know, I've tried, but they just won't go away. They're here to stay, but I work on it. I'm a self-cleaning oven. And Carl Jung, he's a Swiss psychiatrist. He said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. And I'm going to repeat that again because it's so powerful. And if you don't get it, it's not the right time for you. Write it down and read it every day until you get it. This is such an important revelation on who you are, not the other person is, on who you are. How you show up at work, at home, at, when you're playing or when you're in closed doors, is how you show up in the world. How we see things is how we see things to our own benefit. And it's amazing. And I'm going to go into that again. I want to go through this quote again. Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Like I said, this quote completely changed me, and it allowed me the freedom to look deep within who I am. What is it about that person that reminds me of me? Or what is it about me that reminds me of that person? I don't want to look at myself. I don't want to go there. I don't want to look at it. But I want to look at you. And I want to dissect you. And I want to judge you. Because ultimately, you're judging yourself. Ultimately, it's almost like you have, I wrote an article back in 2017. And I think it was 2007. Yeah, August of 2017. It's called Embracing Our Shadow. And I wrote, have you heard the expression, you're afraid of your own shadow? It seems silly, but that expression means something. It means that you're afraid to look at the dark side within you. That shadow side, because everything has a shadow. Every good has evil. Every up has a down. Every turn has a turn. There's always 180 degrees. There's always a shadow side. But isn't it interesting that we see it in others? Does that happen to you? Is it easy for you to criticize and say, well, I can't believe that, they won't wear a mask, or I can't believe that they are wearing a mask, or I can't believe that, Black Lives Matter, or I don't know about Antifa. And I can't believe that you think, and that person thinks, and this person, and the media says. It is so confusing. Where do you go to discover what is causing you to be so angry about what another person thinks or does? Could it be that you want to do it too? Or maybe you're doing it too, and that's a way to make the world a better place, is by correcting others? Could it be? Now, I too have said, I can't believe this is happening. And that's normal. And that is so normal that you're judging something. We are called to judgment. But it's self-judgment. It is judgment of self. So when we see people seeing things differently than us, and we're calling them names, we're doing exactly what you're accusing them of doing to you. Does that make sense? And if you are watching, I want to hear from you. I want to know where you're watching from. I want to know if this makes sense, because if you're watching and you don't write anything, and thank you, Michelle, for being the first teacher's pet in the house, in the classroom. So what I want to know is, does it make sense that you can say something, or I can say something, and then be upset at another person who has a 180-degree perspective than I? We're both doing the same thing. We're both accusing the same people or the opposite person, but we're doing it in the same manner. Name calling, judgment, calling them names, stupid. I can't believe this. Just because you have a difference of opinion, just because. Why? What is it about it that frustrates us to no end? So it is time to become aware about how our brain works, so that we can wake up so that we can at least be aware the next time. Oh, by the way, anyone who comes to you with gossip, my mom used to say, el que lleva trae. Who brings you gossip will take gossip. El que lleva trae. So just know that who's bringing you information, that's not someone you can trust, because they're going to turn around and they're going to do that the opposite direction. Why do they do that? It's a way to feel in control. It's a way to puff their ego, a way to look good. Hey, I've got information. It's a way to make themselves important. So if you or someone you know is in the middle of gossip, stop and say, ooh, I am doing exactly what I accuse others of doing. So what can we do to stop things? Okay, first, it's becoming aware. So I'm going to give you a understanding the brain 101. I learned this back in 2013, 2012, when I first interviewed Dr. Bruce Lipton. Yes, I am a little nape dropping, but we just had Dr. Patrick Porter. We've had so many others come in the classroom and confirm this over and over and over again, that from the moment you are born to the moment you're about 7, for me it was 10 because I'm a little immature, you are a human tape recorder. Even in the womb, they say that you can pick up the feelings of your mom, the DNA of past traumas. And so what happens is you go around with those filters and you listen and you see everything, and that is recorded into your brain, and that becomes your subconscious. Ta-da! That is what runs your engine. So if you grew up in a home where you were made to feel less than, that you were called names, that you were bullied or not accepted or molested or something to that effect, then your perspective, that tape, is going to change the way you're going to look at the world. 100%. So, and I think I've asked you this question before, which is, how many thoughts do we have in our mind? And all of this I learned from Dr. Bruce Lipton. That was the start. And then I researched it myself. And yes, we have, depending on how active your mind is, 70,000 thoughts a day. And guess how many of those thoughts are repetitive? I mean, that you had the same thought the day before, the day before, the day before, the day before. The percentage of repetitive thoughts in your head are 90%. So you're not really having lots of your breaking ideas. Newsflash, not a lot is happening in there. 90% are repetitive thoughts. And of those 90, of the thoughts in the 70,000 thoughts that you have in your head, maybe it's less. Maybe you like to meditate for hours and hours. But even then, you're probably thinking, going, don't think, don't think, don't think. So of those 70,000 thoughts, 80% are negative thoughts. So it's no wonder we're always seeing what could go wrong, what's the worst that could happen. You know, you're the worst scenario. You know, I got this wonderful job. What's going to happen is the worst. I'm going to get fired with this economy. Oh, we're going to end up homeless. That is the fault finding, fault setting, or fear setting that we do so naturally. So becoming aware that only 5% of our mind, like when I am talking to you right now, I'm talking to you from my heart. I do have some notes here, but I'm lucky if I look at those thoughts. Okay, I'm going to look at them right now. But when you are aware that only 5%, You're conscious. You are actually aware of what's going on, 5%. And I remember discovering that back in 2013 and going to saying to Dr. Lipton, well, how do we increase this consciousness? How do we increase awareness? And he says, that's a great question. You rewrite the program. Those 70,000 thoughts in your mind, you rewrite the program. How do you rewrite the program if you are totally unaware most of the time? That's why you can drive a car and talk on the phone, do your nails, and eat a sandwich. Because your subconscious mind is taking over from here. I'm taking over from here. I'm driving that car. And you have no clue where you're at. That's happened to me, where I'm driving and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, how did I get here? Where am I? Has that happened to you? Am I the only one that this has happened to? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, I'll look at this in a little bit. Okay, because I want to get some of these things. So to understand what you see in others and creating that awareness in yourself, first, you must dig deep. Dig deep. Take out your soul shovels, because we need to dig until there's only truth. And again, the shadow side that we have, we don't want to look at it ourselves. And that is the only way that you'll be able to change the program, to rewrite the program and the voices in your head. Who is the voice in your head? And so I remember taking a class not too long ago. And well, gosh, it was a while ago. And we talked about telling your story, rewriting your story, and how you can tell the same story. And by the way, attorneys on their first year of college, of law school, they have to be able to argue the same point on both sides, just as passionately. So I can tell the story in my head, which is the victim story, poor me, excuse me, or I can say, why not me story? And this is what I learned story. It's the same story, they're both true, but it's the filter by which we tell the story. So when we're telling the story of the insensitive person, I just recently, and I have shared this before, excuse me, I'm out of vitamin C. This is the first in a long time. Okay, so just recently I posted that Costco was no longer allowing people to go in without a mask. Excuse me. And this was way after Florida opened up, numbers were down, people were going about, were going out and having a good time, opening restaurants. And now Costco is saying you have to go in with a mask. So I wrote a post, innocently enough. I researched the letter that was written by the CEO. I posted the letter and I said, I have been at the height of this pandemic to Costco, wasn't required to wear a mask. But now that we're past it, we have to wear a mask to go into Costco. I said, does this make any sense? I didn't say, I refuse to do it. I just said, does this make any sense? The information that came back, the accusations, calling me names, conceited, that I was insensitive and that you wear a mask for me, not for you, you're egocentric. All these assumptions let me into who was posting. So when you're calling me this, I want you to stop. When you're placing judgment on me, and it goes the other way around, when I place a judgment on you, stop and say, what is it about them that reminds me of the me I don't want to look at. But it's a lot easier to pick them out, pick them apart, tear them up, and chew them out and spit them out and do nothing about that. It's a lot harder to look at ourselves and say, excuse me, what is it about me? No one asked me, do you have a medical condition? Which I do. That I am concerned to have my airway restricted. I do. But I'm not going to tell people that I have a medical condition. Why should I have to say that? I should have a choice. And we talked about the First Amendment. But so many people saw in me who they are. So how do we do that? How do we stop? So we're all about solutions and we're all about the mindset. And so here's another thing about the mindset that I want to share with you. And it's the ego. The ego, way you know that you're in your ego, there's 4 different ways, 4 different things that you can just like, it's like taking a pulse, right? You're taking a pulse. So is it that you want to look good? Are you saying something to me like, hey, will you meet me at such and such a place? And you go, yeah, I'll meet you there. And you have no intention of meeting me there because you're going to text me and say, hey, I couldn't make it or whatever. Then look at that. I text with 2 thumbs. Then you were just really wanting to look good. That's being in your ego. And or you want to be right. You want to be so right that it doesn't matter what you say. I am right, and I will be. And I come from a line full of right fighters in my family, so I know about, because I can be that way too, or I have been that way too. But I am aware that when I'm in that mode, I need to step back because I'm in my ego. Or perhaps maybe I just want to be comfortable. I don't want to go to the gym. I just want to sleep a little bit longer, which is what I did this morning. I did take out my clothes the night before, but I was up at 2:30 because I've got so much to do and I had to get some things done. And so I went back to sleep because I really deserved to sleep. Comfortable? I don't know. Maybe I was in my comfort zone. There's a lot of things. Comfortable. You can get beaten up every night by your spouse or significant other. But it's a lot better to stay in that relationship to then get out of the comfort zone, because the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. So what is it? Is it the comfort? Is it being comfortable? Is it looking good, being right, or in control? So when you are trying to be in control, and all of a sudden you're not letting and you got to manipulate everything. You got to make everything look good. Maybe everything the way you want to have it done because you're afraid that somebody else is going to say something about you or not look good. That is all ego. Excuse me. That is all ego. Where we want to be is in our essence. And how do you know you're in your ego? Is because you're just miserable. And you want everybody around you to be miserable. The song of the ego I learned from Eckhart Tolle is, I don't get no satisfaction. That is the song of the ego. The ego will never be happy, will never be full, will never have enough, will never be enough. The ego is never happy. So if you're unhappy right now, time to take a pause and go, am I trying to look good, be right, be comfortable, or in control? The moment you can dig and look at that and say, it's time to step back and be in my essence. Take out my soul shovel, dig, 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 until I only find truth. What is it about this situation that I need to learn from? What is it about that person that I need to see in me? Do you see how that works? It works for the better good of you. It works for you. But to call people names because they have an opposing view is because that's how miserable you are inside. So you tell me about who you are when you make comments. And that's okay, because maybe there's a gift and a lesson from this point on. Anytime you say something, am I in integrity or am I out of integrity? Am I in integrity or am I in my ego? Either way, be a self-cleaning oven. Be about your business, not the thoughts of somebody else. You know, when I was a younger mom, my ex-husband walked away from us. He walked away from me. He walked away from our children. And for years, people would ask me, why did he leave? Why did he leave? And you know, I would sit in bed at night going, what? Why would he leave like this? He could leave me, but the kids? What? And I would sit there and try to figure out his mind. And one night at morning, at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, when I do my best thinking, what came back to me was, stop thinking like him. It doesn't do you any good. Stop trying to figure out why somebody else would do something, why somebody else would think about something. Be about you and what you're doing. So, you know, I am about being the solution and having the answers and being the responsible person for you. And you know what? I can see something and know the solution right away. That is a strength of mine. And that's what makes me a great coach. But you know what? It can cripple people. So my strength that I use, I can't always use that strength because other people deserve to figure it out on their own. And I've got the answers. I know what to do. It's a gift. And it could also be a curse if you're unaware. And believe me, my kids have made me aware that strength is a curse. So I know that awareness is key, because once you become aware, that's the sweet spot. That's when you can actually work on yourself, not the other person, on yourself. But isn't that beautiful? That the person in front of you that is poking you in the eye and gosh, got a knife in your back is telling you about you. They're there as mirror, mirror on the wall. Who can throw the next stone to them all? I just made that up. So here's the deal. How can you use this information to empower you to learn a new truth about yourself? So I came up with an acronym. I wrote an article, oh gosh, I don't know how long ago. It's called I Am the Solution. I'm giving a talk on Sunday about being the solution. Because if you are waiting around for someone else to solve your problem, for someone else to make you happy, for someone else to do it right, for someone else to alleviate your pain, it's not going to happen. Trust the process. Because when you are uncomfortable and when you are in discontentment, that's when you grow. When someone's throwing mud on your face and it's not from Keep Me Safe Organics, then that's when you use that mud to grow the seeds that have been planted. You see how it works? It works for the greater good. Because if something's going to be good for you, and Romans 8 says it, that God works out things for the good of all who love him. And I don't believe that God has gender, so I'm just going to go along with the him and the or the she, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. It's not important to me because God doesn't care. That's my opinion. And if you have a difference of an opinion and it rubbed you the wrong way, good. Why? That's what we need to ask. That's what we need to ask, is the why. And someone said to me a long time ago that if you ask why 5 times, you'll get to the root cause. But we stop too soon. We stop too soon. We ask the one why because somebody else did it. Well, why did somebody else do it? Well, maybe because maybe because they got it in on me. They just hate me. Oh, why do they hate me? Well, because I am just so popular and so wonderful and so whatever. Why? Why would they love you if you're so wonderful and so powerful and so whatever? Well, maybe it's me. Maybe the way I'm carrying myself. Maybe I need to look at myself. It always comes back to you. Newsflash, it will always come back to you. So, with that in mind, I want to share that, who is it? Marianne Williamson, that said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And when you were recording all these messages that became part of your subconscious mind, were told that you weren't enough, that you weren't beautiful enough, that you were bullied, and that you didn't deserve to be born, or you were beaten every night before you went to bed, then that is the message that you need to play out. And when you play this message out, you hire the cast and crew. But if you stop and say, okay, if I'm creating this cast, like what's happening right now with choreographed rioting, choreographs, of defunding, these are all choreographs so that we can continue to stay fearful. But enough is enough. No more fear. Fear is an acronym for me. Follow every avenue required to live the life that you desire. Fear. Follow every avenue required to live the life that you desire, not what people have given you, have told you. You are enough. I am enough. And that is enough. Not because you did this or you do that or you think this or you have powers beyond your control. Or not because somebody just has it in on you, or these are the cards that I was dealt, or I have some disease or no disease, whatever. It doesn't matter. It comes back to you. It will always come back to you. Now, what are you willing to do about it? Think. Starts with the thoughts in our minds. Our thought becomes our feelings, and our feelings become our actions. So don't nip it in the bud, nip it in the thought. So how do we do that? Well, I have an acronym for you, and I extrapolated out of an article I wrote called I Am the Solution, because I am the solution. But you know what? So are you. And the moment I intervene with your solution, without being asked to intervene, my bad. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Ho'oponopono. Hey, it works. I've been talking a lot about it. I want to create a little video for you guys. And I want to thank you guys. I want to stay focused. And then after the podcast or pod class, I'll look at the questions. So I hope you're still around so that I can answer. And thank you, Dot and Michelle. I want to hear from all of you that are here. So I can't see you unless you show up and say, hey, I like this, or I'm going to share this with somebody. And so now I get to ask you to help me. If you have a hard time asking for help, why? What is it? What does it say about you? What does it say about others? If you just ask why enough, you'll discover how you can fix it. If you're creating the problem, you can fix this. It may not be what you think it should be because maybe other people don't want it to be that way. But for you, I am responsible for my joy. So with that, I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to ask that you go to whenyouneedafriend.com. I don't know if you were in the classroom yesterday. And I'm going to write myself, okay, yesterday in the middle of class, we got disconnected, not just on Facebook, but on YouTube. So guess what? The entire class is on BitChute. We've uploaded that entire class. Well, I forgot to record the beginning part, but everything after that I recorded. It was recorded, even when we got off the air. We're being censored. It's time to wake up and start looking at our rights, our rights. And I'm starting a totally different, I'm going to change one of my private pages and I'm going to turn it into where we look at the First Amendment. Freedom of speech, freedom of choice. But for now, I'm going to ask you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com and subscribe. Because if we get knocked out, and I am manifesting that things will turn around and that Facebook and YouTube will be that will be held accountable for censorship. But for now, just know that if one day you go on to see the class, or if you don't get your blog and you don't know who's going to be in the classroom or what time we're going to be talking, so please subscribe at whenyouneedafriend.com. And when you do that, there's a page. All you have to do is click and point. Click and point. Like me on social media. Like me, subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on BitChute. Go to bitchute.com. Just click on it. It'll take you right to my page. Right to my page. Don't have to you don't even have to think about it. Just click and it will get you there. But like it so that when there's something there, it'll alert you. That's what you need to do. While you're there, please make sure you check out my sponsors page, because without my sponsors, there would be no class. Without all the teachers that come into the classroom, there would be no class. Teachers like Nori or sponsors like Nori, Nutritional Oncology Research Institute. When you go to the shopping bag, because if you go to my affiliate page, that helps fund the class as well. It's for the classroom. I don't make anything because this is my passion. I eventually would like to make something, but go there and that helps fund so that we can grow the classroom. So Nori, if you go to Nori, you can go to Nori Nutraceuticals, and I love Nori Nutraceuticals. I've been doing their broccoli, their iodine, and it is wonderful. And so if you enter Lily 10, you get 10% off everything. I think most everything except the pharmacy, you get 20% off if you tell them that you heard that I said to give them a 20% discount of their first order. And so we have Keep Me Safe Organics. We're going to have our family reunion conference this weekend with Keep Me Safe Organics Worldwide, 10% off there. First Alternative Care, which is telemedicine for your entire household. You have the non-urgent medical, dermatology, and 3 hours a year psycho talk therapy, 3 hours a year for the entire household for $35 a month. We have the pharmacy in Merritt Island. Tell them that I sent you and get $20 off your first order, or 20% off your first order, which could be more than $20, right? Live Longer Medical, making you as beautiful on the inside as on the outside. Next week, we're going to be talking about men's health. And that means hormones, erectile dysfunction, how to make those things work. And so check out on Thursday of next week. Okay, so we have ground therapy. Get grounded and let your inflammation leave your body. Ground therapy. And if you do go to ground therapy, let me know, because we've been having problems. So if you let me know, I can follow it up. And Brain Tap. Talk about rewriting the program. Go to whenyouneedafriend.com to the little shopping bag and click on the Brain Tap so that you get 15 days for free. And that way you can try out how to reprogram your brain. And so There's so many different ways that you can figure out how you can promote our sponsors, support our sponsors the way they're supporting the classroom. And last but not least, whether you have $1 or $1,000 a month, whatever it is, if you can help keep this classroom growing, spirit or time, talent, or treasure, spirit, mind, and body, please do so, because you can become an enrolled student. So let's figure out a way that we can be the solution and help the classroom grow. Because I don't have big numbers sponsors like the pharmaceutical industry or the alcohol industry or the drug industry. I don't have that. So it is time for all of us to pitch in together. So I said that I would talk to you about the solution, but before I do this, I want to see what your comments are. So Michelle, so she says, I think we're meant to learn from our shadow. We need to be able to face it and not run away. Beautifully said, Michelle. I'll be honest, I'm struggling with this with you. I love the nutrition info, but I am finding myself very uncomfortable with you expressing your political views. Sure, okay, that's fine. There are 180 from mine. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm trying to listen and not judge. It's hard. That's great. Hey, listen, you're aware. But here's the thing. We have more in common than that. We probably have 179 things that we have in common. But what do? We look at the one thing that we don't have in common. I get my news from different sources. I do not watch mainstream media. I don't. So I don't know what you're watching, but if you want to have a conversation or if you want information where I get it, I am more than happy to have a conversation with you. But anyone who tells me and quotes CNN, and I'm not saying that's you, Michelle, anyone who does that, then I'm not going to go there. And sometimes we want to have a reason not to listen to somebody. So these are all beautiful awareness, Michelle. I think it's a beautiful awareness and good for you. And thank you for letting me know. I'm okay with it. I'm okay that we have a difference of opinion. I'm glad that you have your opinion. I'm sure it's founded in your research. And so, but we have so many other things that we have in common. Okay, so Leslie, thank you so much for joining us today. She says, I love this. And Paris says, God bless. And Myrna says, oh, good. Glad to be able to watch it because I was wondering what happened yesterday. Yes, that's what happened yesterday. We got censored. And so we went off the air, but you can find the entire show, the entire class on BitChute. You can go to my Facebook page at whenyouneedafriend.com. Just click on the BitChute logo and it'll take you right to my page. And that way you could subscribe and anything that you want to see. So I'm hoping that we'll be on and that maybe it was a glitch. Who knows? Who knows? So I said I would promise you solutions because we need to be about solutions. So I took the acronym SOLUTION. I am the solution. And so what does the S stand for? So how can we create an acronym that will help us? And I'm going to check and see, okay, how can we create an acronym that will help us become the solution? So S. So I'm going to take the word solution, the first letter, the acronym for solution. I'm going to make it an acronym. And so S is for spiritual soul shovel. And I'm going to use Michelle. I hope you don't mind, Michelle. I don't even know if you're watching still. If you are, oh yeah, you're still there. Let me see. No, you're not. So I don't know if you're still with me. And I hope that you still are. I hope that you came back, maybe tune me out for a little bit. I don't do politics and you know, COVID-19 or defunding the police or any of that should not be politics. It's about freedom of speech. It's part of our Constitution. Why have we made this about politics? Anyway, I'm just going to get off of that. So S is doing the soul shovel. And I hope that Michelle is still listening. And if not, that's okay too. So spiritual soul shovel, where you dig, and you become aware of why. Why am I uncomfortable with somebody else expressing a difference of opinion? Oh, I must be in my ego. I want to be right. Like, I can listen to your point of view and I'm okay with it. But you're not going to change me. I'm not going to change you. And that's okay. Let's move on. Let's move on to what we, the wonderful things about us. Remember, sometimes we sabotage ourselves so that we don't have to continue with that person either. We do that with relationships. We do it in friendships. We do it in marriage. We do it in, at churches. I remember I had a friend that refused to go to church, and not that I'm judging that part, but she would say the reason she didn't want to go to church is because it was full of hypocrites. And I said, that's great. We need one more. Yikes. We're all, at the moment you see that in others, you will find what you're looking for. You will find what you're looking for. So take out that spiritual shovel. And what is it in me? Perhaps you don't have the voice. Maybe you feel uncomfortable with sharing an opinion. Maybe my surroundings make me have to have this opinion. I know so many people behind closed doors say, oh, I believe in this, blah, blah, blah. But in front of their family, in front of their friends, they can't be themselves. Could it be that? I don't know. I'm not talking about you, Michelle. I'm talking about the whole thing in general. Michelle, I'm glad that you're with me. I hope you still love me. And if you don't, that's okay too. We all have to go through our journey. And that is part of how we grow. That is part of how we grow. So the O, so the S is sit down and say, what is it about that person that I don't want to look at in myself? What is it? Where is it coming from? Is it jealousy? Is it envy? Because envy's been used for good in the Bible. It's been used for good, envy of the Gentiles because they had something different than the Jews had. So it could be used to motivate and empower you, but if you do it in the right way. So observe. So spiritual soul shovel, that's the S. O is observe how our mentors behave. Is there anybody in your life that you want to be like? That when you grow up, I want to be like, I like the way they handle themselves. I like the way they're clear with the way they speak. Because, when people ask for me to say something that people don't know about me, I always say, what you don't know about me is that I'm shy. People laugh. They break into laughter. How could you be shy? You sing in front of people, you do a show, whatever it is. That's their judgment on me. See, I didn't tell them I wasn't. But here's the deal. I observed a friend of mine who was an extreme extrovert. And I watched her enter a room, shake the hand of everybody, say hello to everybody. And before we left that meeting, she had engaged with everybody. Now, I may not have liked her style because maybe it wasn't like mine, but I liked what she did. And I needed to adapt it because I wanted that. I don't want to go into a room and just sit by myself because people are going to think that, oh, I'm just too conceited because I don't want to talk to you. Could it be that I'm shy and perhaps maybe uncomfortable? And because I know that about me, I see it in others and I go to them and I say hello to them because I want them to feel comfortable. That's what I want for me. So how do I use it for the better good? So observe your mentors. And that day I said, I am going to do that. And I do. I figured out a way to strike up conversations and be genuine, be myself, be who I say I am, and it'd be okay. And I would be okay. So with that in mind, who are your mentors? If nobody was watching, And if you had no parameters and money was no object and health was no object, what would you do today? How would your life be different today? Write it down and create it. Write it down and create it. L is for learn. Learn, personal growth. Man, I got to a point in my life where I could no longer ignore that little tiny empty hole in my heart, that little pinhole that I had. And at 48 years old, I said, that's it. I'm going to work on myself. I raised my kids. Now it's my turn. When is it your turn? When is it your turn? So learn, personal growth. Go to a coach. I'm a life coach, certified life coach. I'll help you. I'll help you. Go to my coaching page. Okay, so urgency. If not now, when? Urgency is the U in solution. Urgency. Life is short. Tomorrow, if you ever see yourself or hear yourself saying, I'll do it tomorrow, then it's because you bought into the greatest tool of the devil, tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised. So make your tomorrow today. Trust the process. The fact that Michelle was able to say that about me, I think it's beautiful. I'm so grateful to you, Michelle. Truly, with my whole heart, I'm thanking you because I'd rather you be honest with me than try to look good and tell me what you think I want to hear. But also be open to what I have to say because I want to listen to what you have to say. And I want to acknowledge the pain that it must be to hear somebody else's opinion. I get it. I get it. So trust the process, that this is part of a process that's going to get you to that other side, that's going to get you to see that we have more in common than we have maybe the one or two things that we don't share. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, so then the next is I, intuition and integrity. I had to choose between the two, so why not have both? Let your intuition have integrity. If your intuition is acting from fear, that's not fear. That's not intuition, that's fear. If you're scared or something, intuition tells you do it anyway. Integrity, that's what we've lost in this world, is our word, the handshake, the saying, be who you say you are. So that's the I in solution. I want to go through these before we finish up here. O is be open to feedback. Be open to feedback, whether you love me or you don't love me. Give me a chance. Or say how you feel and then move on. Let's move on. Let's continue being friends, even if there is a difference of opinion. Or be open that maybe I'm doing something that is rubbing you the wrong way. But again, it comes back to you. What is it about you that you don't want to look at in me? N, needs. We all have needs. We all have needs. And if we are giving to everybody else and we don't have what we need, then we're coming from a place of lack. Coming from a place of lack. So if you start giving yourself what you need, then you start giving from a place of abundance. So that when somebody has something that's poking you in the eye or saying a thing that you don't agree with, then we have to go back to our ego and say, why do I have to feel I need to be right about this? Is this part of my identity? Could I, because if there is a lie at the center of your belief, could everything we believe be a lie and everything that we thought was a lie be true? Don't shoot the messenger. Look into it. It is a fun journey. It's kind of scary, but at the same time, it's exciting and new and different. And just like the cocoon and the caterpillar that goes into the chrysalis, it will eventually break its way out, and it has to struggle because that dries their wings. If you try to help the butterfly come out of the cocoon before the wings dry, then it will die. So that struggle is excellent, but get to the other side as a victorious individual. I believe that we can do this. I believe that it is time. It is time to look at the shame that we carry within us. It's time to look at all of that and say, I am enough. And just because I think it doesn't make it true. Let me look at the other side. Let me sit with the other side and learn and grow. And I'm so grateful for this time. We're going to continue because I've not been able to look at some of the comments. And so please know that if you're joining us on podcast, know that you can catch us live. And I know that I received a text, so I'm going to check that out too. So please remember, we are enough. You are enough. And I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, so I do not see, and Robert, am I still on Facebook? I think I am. Okay. So I am going to click on here, and I'm going to see if sometimes I get comments, and the comments that I get are, thank you, Dot. I'm glad you love this. And Michelle and Myrna, thank you so much for letting me know that you were in the classroom today. I call you guys the teacher's pet. Anyone who hits the like or the heart or whatever lets me know that you guys are here. That's a teacher's pet, because this is how you fill me. You fill me with your time. To me, time is the most precious gift that we can give anybody. It used to be when I was younger, oh, give me the gifts, bring the gifts, just drop them on the door, by the door. You don't have to stay if you don't want to, just bring the gifts. Now it's all about time. It's about making the opportunity, just sharing conversation. That to me is just priceless. So thank you so much for that. And Dot, I'm hoping that you have any comments, if anything that you would like to share, because this is our classroom. And so, okay, so this is from somebody who saw another class that we did. Okay, so now I want to talk about something really quick. I'm not going to be on long because this was just all me. I mean, when I say me, I don't have a teacher in the classroom. And so usually it's like split half time, or maybe the teacher spends a little bit more time, or maybe I have lots of questions and I spend a little bit more time talking, but this was all from my heart. Yes, I had some ideas of where I wanted to go with this, but you know, when you if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, right? And so could go in a totally different direction. I don't know. So today there was another thing I wanted to talk about, and it's a book that is a really good favorite book. And I've had Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. in the classroom. He's the son of Don Miguel Ruiz. I don't know if any of you show me some love or right there that you've read the book. It's called The 4 Agreements. Has anybody read that book that's in the classroom right now? Because I want to talk to, I want to get your feedback on this. But to me, the 4 agreements, and if you're having an issue, anyone, and I'm not just talking to one person, I'm talking to all of us, me included. If I ever have an issue where I'm having a hard time with a person, clashing with a person, that's when I go and I step back and I figure out, what can I love about them? What can I love about them? You know, it might be that they have a beautiful smile, or their hair, or maybe that they're successful, or maybe that they're generous. Maybe, you know, gosh, I'm sure you can find one thing. And you know what? you find what you're looking for. Because if you find yourself criticizing everybody, chances are that voice in your head is criticizing you all the time. And it's like scapegoating. I got to find somebody else to punish. I got to find somebody else to be a scapegoat because I am somebody else's scapegoat. I need to have a scapegoat too. So if somebody's poking in the eye, this is a great book, and it's called The 4 Agreements. So the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. The second agreement is don't take anything personal. Whether you like me or you don't like me, whether you agree or you don't agree. It all depends on who you are. If you're my husband, you must agree. You hear and obey. Yes. So, but for everybody else, don't take anything personally, honestly. So, because what they're saying about you is an insight of who they are. But then again, you take ownership. Make sure you listen. If it's something that you're doing, rectify, be aware that's something that you need to change. But just know that when people speak to you, they're giving you an insight in their soul. So don't take anything personally. Even if you feel attacked, again, that's the ego. If you feel attacked, if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling, if you're feeling discontentment, you need to sit with the ego and say, okay, which one of these am I trying to be? In control, be right, be comfortable, or what's the last one? Looking good. Yes, looking good. So that's it. So that's the first one is be impeccable with your word. Second one is don't take anything personal. The third is don't make assumptions, which is what happened with me. People assumed that I was vain because I didn't want to wear a mask. Nobody asked me. Nobody cared that I was born with asthma. I've had asthma my entire life, and I use vitamin C to help me now. I was on every single drug. I know what it's like to not be able to breathe. A mask makes me feel like I can't breathe. PTSD, I don't know. I also happen to know other things about it that the mainstream media does not share. And I'm not going to get into that. But don't make assumptions. And the moment you're saying, she thinks that, he believes that, they do that, that's the moment you're making assumptions. And then number 4, always do your best. Always do your best. And I remember one time realizing that I remember one time we were asked, I was in a parents' class, we were part of a co-op, and I didn't want my children to go to a daycare because I had an assumption about daycare. And so we did a co-op, moms and dads, and it was part of the college that was running this, and we had to take a parenting course during this time. And during the course, it was a Tuesday night that we would go, and this woman, our speaker, she wanted us to fill out, it was like words, right? Dates, it's just words of different like attributes, and then you had to go around asking different people, put a name to the word, right? And there were like maybe 40 people in our class. And so before that, she said, any questions? And so I started asking questions. Can we go to the same person at the same time? Can we do this? Can we do that? I had to create rules. That's why I love the Bible. The Bible gave me rules. I had to follow these rules. I knew when to go outside the lines. That made me feel comfortable and in control, right? So what I did was I went and I did everything I had to do, and I was the first one to sit down. So I completed my task, sat down, and then comes the eye-opening that every single person, she asked, who finished all the attributes? Who finished and who tied, the attribute with a person? There were only 5 of us. I was one of them. I raised my hand. And she said, look around the room. These are your go-to people. These are your perfectionists that get things done. And I thought, perfectionist? I'm not a perfectionist. I never do anything right. And she said, precisely. You don't do anything right because you're a perfectionist. that awareness may have saved my life because I learned good enough. Always do your best. Good enough. So, getting to know yourself is the best gift. Falling in love with yourself. And I'm not talking about being egocentric or narcissistic or anything to that effect. Getting to know yourself is the best gift that you can give to the world. To be who you say you are. To be okay with your flaws and all. To love yourself just because you're you, not because you raised this much money or because you raised the most beautiful kids or because you have the most beautiful clothes or you make a lot of money or you have the highest education, just because you're you. That's it. Simple. But it takes time and it takes repetition. That's why the T for solution, or be the solution, is trust the process. A lesson I had to learn. All these things are lessons I had to learn. And I want to say this to all of you. The person who stands before you today, who sits before you today, who speaks before you today, is not the same person I was 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 15 years ago. I was taught by my parents, who taught me beautifully, who taught me well. But I believed what they believed. But I remember looking at the word belief, and I've shared this story before. On my vision board, the word belief, the IE was red, everything else was white. And all of a sudden I saw a lie. And I was frustrated because what I wanted from my vision board wasn't coming true. It wasn't happening. And I was doing everything, balls to the wall. I was doing everything. And all of a sudden I saw a lie, because you must be in integrity. You must believe what you say is true. And I thought, what is the lie at the center of my belief? What if everything I learned was a lie? And what everything I thought was a lie is true? What if? Can you deal with it? Can you dig it? Where would that put you? Would you be open to learn a new truth? Could you start every conversation wanting to learn more about the other person and why they believe the way they do? And not repeat it, but research it. Don't repeat anything I say. Research what I say. Research what you think. Research what other people say. So, what is the lie at the center of your belief? And sit with it. It's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Sit with it. There was a psychiatrist who wrote over 100 years ago, and I need to get his name, but he wrote, sorrow that is not expressed with weeping, with tears. Sorrow that is not expressed with tears makes other organs weep. That's how disease happens. It gets trapped into our body and we get diseases. If you would have told me 11 years ago that past childhood traumas can create diseases in me, because I didn't believe it. I believe I had asthma, I had to take medicine, and that was my belief. And that's where you can take a pill, you can take responsibility came from. But responsibility is about empowerment and freedom, not about shame, blame, fault, or duty. So with that in mind, I want to challenge all of you. What is it about me that rubs you the wrong way? What is it about you that rubs me the wrong way? And let's sit with it. Let's explore it. Let's have fun with it. Let's be open. Let's be fearless. And when you uncover the why, sweet spot, ding, 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 winner, winner, broccoli dinner, you win. And any conversation that you have where you must be right and the other person has to be wrong, again, that's ego. Create win-win. When you create win-win, everybody wins. Everybody wins. Okay, so I'm going to see. Okay. I don't know what glitchy for everyone else. I don't know what glitchy. Are you? Am I coming off the air? Is it happening again? I hope not. I hope not. But I am ready to release. Whenever, and again, I want to talk to you about Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. Just make sure that you release. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay, all of that. But just make sure that as it comes into your body and you become aware of it, let it go. Release it. How do you release it? It's up to you. How do you want to release it? Meditation? Do you want to journal? Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to jump on the trampoline? Whatever it is, release. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if the video or the audio is stuttering. Anyway, it's time for me to go anyway. I hope that this conversation has been helpful. If it hasn't been helpful, sit with it. What is it? And ask yourself the question, what is it about what she said that I refuse to look at? What if everything I believe was a lie and every lie that I thought was a lie is truth? What if I am part of the Truman Show? I don't know if anybody is as old as I am. I'm 57 years old. Did I turn 58? I don't remember. 57 or 58? I think I'm 57. Yes. Maybe. Anyway, I just saw the Truman Show. Truman, watch it. It's worth paying $3 on demand to watch. On Amazon Prime, I believe. Everything in his life was fake. Everything in his life was fake, but he was taught everything was real. That's where we're at right now. That's where we're at right now. It's time to look and embrace new truths. If you're open to it, if you're not, don't do it. You're in choice. You're always in choice. Okay, everybody, we will see you soon. And I hope that this was a helpful conversation. Please remember to like and share and do the little heart things and all the stuff so that you can let me know that you are in the classroom. We'll see you soon. Take care.